Everybody, good morning. Welcome to the Friday edition of Tyngsborough TV Live. I am Town Media Director Steve Brogan, and this is our Friday wrap-up segment where it's we're just going to talk about a bunch of fun stuff. It's the end of the week, thankfully. Finally the end, and we get to go home and enjoy the weekend. Though it's going to be a rainy weekend, apparently. not very appealing, but hey, whatever. It's new, and so we'll just deal with it and enjoy it next week. Hopefully, it'll be a lot more sunny. So, my usual guest, unfortunately, couldn't be here for this show. Chief Howe had a prior thing he had to deal with, so he is not going to be here today. So it's just going to be Kaylee and Ray Sam and I talking about a bunch of different stuff. We got some really cool local news things that are going on, some really fun stories to talk about, and a couple of other interesting things as well to talk about. But before I get started on all that stuff, I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching, you can check us out on Facebook. You can watch on all the different pages we shared across. You can also watch us on YouTube. And on both of those channels, you can interact and chat with us if you'd like to ask questions, chime in, talk about different topics, whatever the case may be, or ask questions of the guest if we have one. And you can also watch us on Comcast 8, Verizon Channel 29 here in the town of Tyngsborough, and at tyngsboroughma.gov on our live video on demand and streaming service, where you can also watch all of our past meetings from all, like the Selectmen, Conservation Commission, you name it, all those different commissions and bodies that we have here in town. You can watch all their past meetings, as well as the other stuff that we produce for Tyngsborough TV. So you can keep up with what's going on in town government and get some news and whatever else is going on in town, whatever we talk about. So lots of cool ways you can watch and enjoy. So I hope you guys have some fun with this. We're going to have some fun with the show today, just kind of messing around. We're just kind of because our chief, unfortunately, was kind of a last-minute call out, sadly. So we're gonna make it up. Fun. The first thing I wanted to talk about, Kaylee, if you can bring up the dog Finn. So we had a really cool thing happen. Kind of cool. Didn't start good, obviously, because it was a lost dog. But we had a lost dog that was picked up over by the Route 3 overpass over near Dunstable Road. And what was really neat about this was I got the information from Dave Robson, our animal control officer, to get it posted so we could help find the owners. And from the time of post to watch your volume on that computer back there, by the way. From the time of post to the time that the owners were located was 19 minutes. And that was because of everybody that saw the post and shared it out. In that 19 minutes, I think we had something like 99 shares. We were just shy of 100. Here, let me turn that mic off here. We were just shy of 100, which was really cool. And it's even still gone up more than that. But it was very cool to see how quickly we got Finn back to his owners. So thanks to everybody who saw that post, shared that post. We put it on all the pages we could reach, but then it just absolutely blew up from there. So that was really cool to see. And Finn literally was back home within 19 minutes. So that was really neat to see happen. So thanks to everybody who helped with that. Just another testament to the power of social media. And there's just the many things you can do with it. I mean, it's obviously can be used for nefarious purposes, but it can be used for really cool purposes as well as keeping up with your family, obviously, too. But it's just definitely nice to see that happen. So kudos to everybody who helped out with that process. So that's fun. Then let's talk about story about our assistant principal and her award that she got. I had it on mine and I lost it. Oh no, I got the long ones. There we go. So we have a assistant principal at the middle school. Her name is Erin Sousa, and she was named the principal of the year award or something like principal. Yeah, Tyngsborough. What was the actual award? I'm trying to find the name now. Principal of the year. There it is.
Yep.
Assistant principal of the year.
Top
right.
in the state.
Right. So she was top in the state, assistant principal of the year. Really cool story. It's always nice to see Tyngsborough in the news for good things. Not that many bad things happen here, thankfully, but it's nice to see good stories, things like this. So that was really cool. She got a very nice honor there. She was at an award ceremony where she received that award. So congratulations to her. Nice job well done, and I'm sure the award was well deserved as well. From people I talked to, she does a great job. So very, very cool to see that happen. So that was neat. So like I said, good stuff. Always nice to see good things. And then to the poetry. So let me speak about that real quick. So on April 13th is the Tyngsborough Public Library's Merrimack River Slam Cup, they're calling it. It's a youth poetry slam. It's from 12 to 4 here at Town Hall in the community room. And you can you can join and read your poems. They have teams of poetry readers. So I'll read you the text. It says Tyngsborough Public Library welcomes teen poets and spoken word lovers. Compete in teams of 4. Teams should have 4 poems ready to perform for a panel of guest judges. Perform individually or together with team members. There's cash prizes. You have to register, obviously, to be part of it. And obviously the space is limited. So, but we'll be here in the community, and we're going to set up a really cool setup for that. So that should be pretty neat. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And it's for ages 13 to 19. So if you have kids in town and you want to have them be part of the Poetry Slam, then have them check this out, and maybe they'll join in and become part of the Poetry Slam. So it's pretty neat. Definitely a pretty neat project that the library's been working on. And that's coming up on April 13th. Time is running short very quickly. We want to talk about. We got Finn. Oh, and now let's move over to the health and safety fair. So there's a few things revolving around the health and safety fair I wanted to mention. First and foremost, the health and safety fair is happening on April 6th over at Tyngsborough Elementary School. There'll be lots and lots of vendors. There's all kinds of really interesting stuff happening over there. And Kaylee, if you scroll down that page, some other stuff that's really cool that I wanted to mention that's happening. The first thing is that Jimja Warrior thing. I don't know if you've come across that yet on that page. If you scroll down, you should see it somewhere down there. Yeah. Anyways, we'll once you find it, we'll talk. Well, we'll show it. But so Jimja is like it's like different kinds of gym workout where they've got like basically they're kind of playing off the ninja thing with like climbing walls and like doing all these different types of exercise. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm not sure what they're bringing exactly, but they're talking about a wall. So I'm assuming they're gonna bring this warped wall. Yeah, come test your skills and conquer the warped wall.
Here it is.
So okay, there we go. Yep. They're talking about that. There's actually a video too. If you click on their page.
You want me to click on it?
Yeah, go for it. See if you can find the video that comes up with it. I think it should be. Yeah, there it is, right there. Let's see if it plays. Oh, there we go. So here you go. This is the gym. Click that. Make that full screen too, will you? There we go. So this is kind of obviously these guys know exactly what they're doing, but they do like you ever see American Ninja Warrior? Yeah. So it's kind of like that.
Look at that.
It's like American Ninja Warrior. So they're going to bring some stuff in. This is going to be a really neat event. Honestly, there's some cool stuff lined up for the health and safety fair on April 6th. So these guys are going to be there, and there'll be a ton of other vendors as well. I think there's a few anyway, so if you're interested in being part of it, time's obviously running up quick because it's April 6th. But if you are some type of medical field or health field, check it out because you can be part of the things and safety fair coming up. So these guys need to do some stuff. I mean, it's literally like Ninja Warrior. I'd like to try this because I think it's a lot of fun, and it's what's the new workout craze? The name is escaping me. My goodness, I'll to it. CrossFit. Thank you. Like, that would escape me sometimes. So it's kind of like CrossFit. I feel like they just have all different kinds of funky exercises that you're doing, but you're not really exercising, but you are exercising. You know what I mean? It's not like lifting weights or,
Definitely.
Where is this place based?
I have no idea. To be honest, I don't know much of the details on it. I'm sure we could figure it out. So yeah, so that's the Jimja Warrior thing.
All right.
And I wanted to check out on their page that I wanted to mention to you guys. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I missed it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so they've got. Oh, they'll be doing the free child ID kits too. That's another good one. So there'll be a gentleman from the state police there who comes. I think he's been there the last few years, anyways, and he'll do ID kits for you. So I don't know if they give you a flash drive or if you have to bring one. I forget. I think they give you one. And you can basically like have an ID kit made up for your kids. So in the event, heaven forbid anything ever happens to them, you can have this information, give it to the police, and then it makes it easier for them to locate. Hopefully, anyways, easier for them to locate. But it's basically a packet with like a photograph and all the information about your child and stuff like that. So it could, if something ever happened, they got lost or something, it'd be easier to go and find them. So that's pretty cool that they'll be there doing that again this year. And there'll be a bunch of other vendors. So you've got, let's see if they have a list of any. We will in a second. I'm getting to that. Yeah. So they also have like health screenings that they're going to do. Lots of activities. The Jimja thing will be cool. This is going to be a lot of really neat stuff. So if you are around April 6th, definitely come out and check this out. It's from 9 to 1 on April 6th at the Tyngsborough Elementary School. And then also happening the same day on the same property, you've got the rain barrel pickup. So if you ordered your rain barrels from greatamericanrainbarrel.com, I think we sold about 30 this year.
Oh, nice.
Not we, but the company sold about 30. So that many people, that many of town residents bought one of these barrels, which is cool. It's a very neat program. You can pick up your rain barrels that day. They're doing that from 10 to noon at the elementary school as well, and I think they'll extend that if you can't make it out. So, don't feel married to that time necessarily. Bring a vehicle that's big enough to take these home because they are fairly good size. You can fit one in your backseat of like a sedan, but if you got two, then you're gonna have trouble. You might want a pickup truck or a van or something. But so you can pick up your rain barrels, and then also there's going to be an e-recycle event happening through the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. A local scout troop, Boy Scout troop and Girl Scout troop, are doing the e-recycle program where you can. Thank you, Kayla, for bringing that up.
This
There
is
we go.
from November 13th, but I'm pretty sure it's the same list and the same prices.
Yep, must be. Yep. So you can bring e-waste basically, except for TVs. That was the one thing that's still on that list. TVs was crossed off. I did a video the other day with Max from the Boy Scout troop that's putting this together. It was Troop 46 was the number, and then 619 was the Girl Scout troop, if I'm remembering properly. Somebody can correct me on Facebook if I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, so they're putting this together. There are fees for the items to bring them to have them recycled. There's a fee for each item. It's kind of a nominal fee. They're not a ton of money, but if you wanted to get rid of these things, and the troops are using it as a fundraiser, so that's part of the fee issue, the fee structure. So it's a fundraiser for those troops, and then also you can get rid of that e-waste, which is good. Definitely a good way to get it out of your garage. And then anything that's not on this list that might be considered hazardous. Household Hazardous Waste Day is coming up in June, so just hang on to it till then. June 1st will be Household Hazardous Waste Day. So lots of really cool stuff happening at the health fair. Did I miss anything on the health fair? So we got the and then so that's other than the health fair, the same day is also the Winslow School reunion. That's another big event that's happening in town. If you're went to school here in town, you probably went to the Winslow School at some point in time. So they're having a reunion on April 6th as well. That's later in the day over at the Winslow School site. So you can go over there, and they're having like all food, and there'll be some food trucks, some music, and they'll be doing photographs on the stairs of the Winslow School, a bunch of other cool stuff like that. So it'd be a neat way to kind of reconnect with some students from times past, classmates from times past and whatnot, and just have some fun, hang out and enjoy. And it'll be up on the top there, on top of the little hill where Winslow is. So should be pretty neat. They got some events planned and things like that. So it's gonna be a nice event. And they put together they'd ask people to bring all the photographs that you can find of the event, or rather, of your time in school, so class pictures or any other photos. So if you have those, bring those with you, or contact the Tyngsborough Historical Commission, and they'll take those photos, and they're putting them all together so that everybody can look at it in kind of a big collage, like all the different class photos and whatever is out there. So lots of cool stuff. Unfortunately, it's before cell phone cameras rather were really big, so there probably won't be as many photos as there would be if it was something really current. But still very cool. It's neat to see some of those old photos and stuff, black and whites of all the different things that happen. So that's happening. But then those are all town things. Let's see. That was a local thing. We talked about Finn. What a cute dog he is, boy.
Town athletic fields.
Oh, yeah, right. Thank you. Yeah, so just a reminder that all of the town athletic fields are all still closed until at least April 1st. They're hoping, though now it's supposed to rain all weekend, they were hoping for them to dry out, but I'm going to guess that that's probably going to get pushed back just because now it's supposed to rain all weekend and be pretty raw. So that's unfortunate. Kaylee, actually, if you can pull the weather up, too, we'll show that in a little bit. But, yeah, it's pretty cold and raw this weekend, so... and wet, so the fields aren't going to dry out as much as they kind of hoped, I think, which is unfortunate. But what are you going to do? It's the weather. We can't control it. Maybe we get some big tarps and stitch them all together and make like a roof. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
feel it's bad weather for perhaps soccer, football, but probably excellent weather for mudding, if you're into that.
I mean, but then you'd destroy the field.
Oh, well,
so,
I'm not
right.
saying on the field.
Oh, okay, gotcha, right. That was the whole purpose of closing the field. That would be, we got enough mud up my house. You can come mud up there if you want to. Yeah, you're welcome to take some with you if you'd like to.
All right.
But yeah, that'd be fun. So yeah, at least till April 1st, but then maybe after that fact still until the fields dry out. The reason being is because if the fields are wet and soggy, you'll end up basically ruining the fields, and they have to do a lot of work to repair them. If they're that soaking wet. I mean, you guys know if you go step out in the ground and it's soft, your foot goes right into it, and you leave a nice big dent in the ground, which once it dries, then you have to fix that. You have to regrade the whole thing. So it's a big mess. So hopefully it'll dry out quicker. and then all the local sports kids can get on the field. So yeah, that's happening also. So just keep that one in mind if you're a field user in town. Let's see, what else do you want to talk about?
Parish meeting house pictures.
Yeah, let's do that. So, I put a call out the other day, as requested by our administrator, to request from the town any photos you guys might have from the First Parish Meeting House. If you have any, basically, if you've ever gone for a wedding or any services, because there's been churches in there at different periods in time. Obviously weddings and other events. If you have any photographs from inside the building, this might be a stretch too, because this is a long time ago, most likely, for most of these things to have happened. But if you have any photos from inside, they're asking if we could have a copy of them here at Town Hall so that they can use that to help piece together what materials, light fixtures, curtains, whatever else is in the photos, to help piece together the interior of the building so they can kind of recreate that. They're looking to try to recreate all of these things in its original fashion, original form, for the construction that's happening right now. If you notice, if you've been driving by First Parish Meeting House, there's a bunch of work going on the front that's like electrical and sewer related, but then also they're working on the inside, or getting ready to anyways. They've started demo in there, getting ready to do construction on the inside, where they're going to basically redo the inside, the interior, bring it back to its original grandeur, if you will, make it really nice. And so these photographs will help because, like I said, they'll be able to piece together kind of what was in there. You know, what light fixtures did they have? You know, what did the chandelier look like? What did the what trim was on the walls, if they can tease those out of the photos, things like that. And it's probably going to be kind of tough because I'm going to guess most of these things are in paper form, you know, on a actual printed photograph, like the old days. But if you have any of those things, they'd love to see them. If you have any photos electronically, feel free to email them. You can send them to me at Tyngsborough.ma.gov. You can also send them through Facebook if you want, or if you have them in paper form, you can snap a photo with your cell phone of the picture, try to get it as best quality as you can with good lighting, or you can bring it in here and we'll scan it for you, and then you can have your photo back and be on your way with it. But we would appreciate it. It'd be really cool to see some of this stuff. I'm sure we'll, you know, when the building's done, maybe if we get some of these things, we can put them on a board and kind of show them in a collage of what, you know, some times past photos. I think that'd be pretty neat to show off. But if you have any of those photos, definitely check your shoe boxes and wherever else they end up. Top dresser drawers, where a ton of that stuff always ends up. Photo albums, any of those places. So if you got any of those, they would definitely appreciate looking at that. And it's for a really, really good cause, to just help piece that back together historically to make it look original again. So very cool stuff.
And we've mentioned our own photo contests.
I haven't yet. I haven't gotten to that yet, actually. Cool. Yeah. So while we're on the note of photographs, our photo contest starts in a couple days, April 1st. Kayla, if you want to bring up that image for me, and we'll pop that on the screen. Oh, did you lose it? No? Yep. Command tab, and it'll take you to the... It's on there you go. All right, nice. So this starts on April 1st. If you are a photographer or not a photographer, but you have some cool photos of town, you have to be a resident of town or work in town to be able to enter the contest.
I took that picture on the right.
The one with the butterfly?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yes, I took that. I just realized that.
That was your photo?
At Parley Farms.
I'm gonna have to go back and look. Well, that's funny. Okay, I didn't realize. I don't
was
remember
just,
the name that was attached to the photo,
and
but
I
that's
was like,
hilarious.
wait, hold on.
So if you're a photographer from town and you're interested, join the contest. We've had a ton of growth with this contest. This is our 6th annual. We've been doing it for, well, it's been 3 years now, but we do 2 a year, springtime and fall time. This is the spring one, obviously, coming up. And photos can be from any time of the year, though, so it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's taken in town. It's got to be in town of something, people, places, or things in the town of Tyngsborough, and I can usually tell if it's not, so don't try to scam me.
Yeah.
I could tell. But it can be from any medium, so whether you've taken it on a print and scanned it, or you've taken it on your cell phone, or you've taken it on a nice DSLR camera. I don't care what type of medium it is, but obviously you have to send it to me electronically. And don't use somebody else's photo, I guess, is the biggest thing. Don't take somebody else's and doctor it or whatever. That's not. I'll figure that one out too. But yeah, send in your photo. So starting April 1st to April 7th is when the submission period starts. You send them in to me, sbrogan@tyngsborough.ma.gov, and then you'll be part of the contest. And hi Donna, by the way. You'll be part of the contest, and yeah, we'll see who the best winner is. There's 2 winners who are chosen. We post them on the 8th. They'll be posted up on Facebook. The one with the most likes will win that portion of the contest, the Facebook likes part, and then the one with the of the remaining photos, rather, I will pick a Director's Choice Award, which is always really difficult. I'm telling you, last year was really tough. Man, there was so many photographs.
Oh, wow.
Winning last year, was it a picture of the bridge?
No, it was actually the picture of the boy in the sunset.
Oh.
He had like a fishing rod.
Oh,
It was just a really cool shot. And actually, I met her yesterday, Christine Corella, and Diana Mines took the bridge photo with that really pretty red sunset behind it. It was a beautiful shot.
That was a really,
Wow.
I saw that picture.
That was a really great photo. But Christine Corella took the other one. She won the Director's Choice. And it was just an awesome shot. He was like silhouetted in the sunlight.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It's just a really cool shot.
It's cool to see the pictures that people take from town.
Yeah, but there was a lot of really good photos. It was a really tough choice to pick even that one out of the other photos that I had to choose from. It was really hard. So keep entering. I've had a number of people who have re-entered the photo contest, which is totally fine. You can keep re-entering as many times as you want.
This is your year.
Yeah, right. Definitely keep entering, and it's a lot of fun. So I am always excited to see what kind of photos come in. Just remember to please subject photo contest, because I don't want them getting lost. I got tons of other emails, so I don't want your emails getting lost from the photo contest. I'm very just going through, but I don't want to risk losing anybody's photo. So just put photo contest in the subject line. That way I can make sure and not lose any of those. So yeah, so good time. So yeah, that's the photo contest. Starts April 1st. I just shared it out again, and we'll share it out some more. And we've got flyers up around and everything like that. So we'll keep promoting that so that you guys can see it, whether you're on social media or not. All right. What else do we want to talk about? We've got, let's see. What do you guys talk about? If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, what can we talk about? You're thinking about out there in TV land, social media land. Interesting. So let's get the roll call. I think that's kind of funny. So we did some funny, interesting stories. We've all been getting hassled by all these robocalls. I know I have, like 6, 8, 10 times a day. Super annoying.
Yeah,
Isn't
they
it?
are super annoying.
And I would stop.
Well, they put similar numbers to the ones that you would typically get.
Yep.
So
And they're local numbers.
Yeah.
They're using 978s and 617s and 603s.
it's
and
weird.
very weird.
Yeah.
So the FTC recently, Federal Trade Commission recently, I think it's the FTC, recently shut down the 4 of the groups that were connected with doing these calls. So supposedly this is supposed to start slowing down. I still got 2 today. I don't know about you guys, but
I haven't gotten any today.
oh really?
Surprisingly,
Okay.
I got like 3 yesterday.
Yeah,
but-
I'm definitely getting them at least like once or twice a week.
Wow, you get them less often than I do.
That's right. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
Seriously.
I was getting like 6 a day.
Oh.
Though it depends on who you call, who you've given your phone number to, in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah.
like websites and stuff. If you're given it, try not to give it to them, but
Yeah.
sometimes you have to. They're supposedly slowing down. I don't know. I don't put a lot of faith in it, but
Actually, interesting.
Kinda hopeful.
I noticed that they use numbers similar to you, and they use actual people's numbers.
Yeah.
So I got a
Yeah,
phone
yeah.
call the other day, of course, thinking it was a telemarketer or whatever. So I answered it, and I was like, "Hello," and like figuring it was fake, and it was a woman. She was like, "Hi, I just got a missed call from you," and I was like, "No, I didn't." I was like, "No, I don't know. I didn't call
Yeah.
you. I don't know who this is." And they were. I was like, "It might be like a telemarketer or whatever," but. Yeah, super strange.
I've actually done that too. I've called back a couple of the numbers,
Yeah.
but when it first started happening, and I'm like, "Hey, did you just call me?" Because I thought it was somebody I
Right.
knew because it was a
Yeah.
local number, and it was Joe
So
Smith
weird.
from wherever, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I didn't call you," and I'm like, "Well, your number's getting used."
No, yeah, that's happened to me.
Has
actually,
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like people have called me and offered. They're like, "Oh, you called." I'm like, "I can guarantee you, I didn't."
I was like,
It's
I don't even know who this is. Super nice woman, but I was
Right.
like,
Right.
I don't know who you are, so I didn't call you. Sorry.
It's super annoying though. I'm just glad it'll start hopefully slowing down.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you knock down 4. It's like whack-a-mole. You knock down a couple, and then a couple more pop up in its face. But
Very true. And it's also another thing too, where it's just like I feel very conflicted about it, because on one hand, it's just like don't pick up a number that you don't know. Right. But on another hand, like for example, I used to do like a lot of like job searching, as like a lot of people do, and things like that. However, one of the things that they put on there being like, "Hey, do you want to put like, your number out there so that way potential employers could start calling you?" And if I'm picking up a number that I don't know with an attitude already, then I guess like I'm not getting that job. Mind you, this is before I got this wonderful position as a media associate at Tyngsborough Access. But yeah, no, it's one of those things too where I've gotten into the habit of just like picking up a phone and like waiting for them to talk
That's
first.
what I do too. Yeah.
Before anything.
And then when it's actually like a real person, like it's like my doctor's office calling or something,
Oh,
and I'm
right,
like, I answer and I'm like, hello.
I've actually,
or I just don't say anything.
I've actually tried like so that they can't record. So I heard that they could do this. If you answer the phone and you say, you know, hello, you know, who's this? Use any verbiage. They could actually take the words that you've said and then turn that into ways that they can cheat, like your banks and stuff like that, to be able to steal your money.
Right.
Like if you said yes to anything, they'll record that, and now if they somehow could call your bank or whatever and get transfers to happen and like. Because they've got your voice, they've got an audio recording of your voice. So I've actually started if I know it's a telemarketer, or I think it is anyways, I'll answer like mushy mushy. Like I don't answer English or whatever. I'll just make something up, some gibberish or some language if I happen to know the proper response or whatever. And I usually get nothing after that. So it's been that's worked somewhat. But
I used to get this one call like every single day, and it was this person saying like, "Hi, we're calling from the Marriott," and like I would always think it was a real person because they would be like, "Hi, this is Sam. How are you?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm good. How are you?" And like thinking it's like a real person. I caught on after, but yeah, super weird.
It's very weird. It's one of those kind of annoying things. Somebody asked if begging is allowed in Tyngsborough. I think it's legally allowed anywhere, right? I think that's pretty much the case with that. Wasn't that considered a free speech thing? I think
begging.
Yeah, like standing on street corners and begging.
Oh, like panhandling.
Panhandling, right? Panhandling.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah,
begging's probably the wrong word, but that's what he used.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know.
It's panhandling, right? But
is panhandling free speech?
I'm pretty sure they.
If the chief was here, he would.
I know. I wanted to ask him that. I wish we could have asked him that, but
is that
I don't.
Speech?
I thought that it was because you.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. You couldn't stop it because it was considered a free speech thing.
What?
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. That's what I thought I heard. I could be way off base. But I thought I heard that. So
I don't know.
Yeah. So I have no idea. Good question. We'll have to ask the chief that someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that like it can be discouraged within a town, being like, hey, don't panhandle. Instead, give to like a shelter or give to something else like that too. Like I know that that is kind of and it's kind of one of those like gray areas that like towns could do to get around that.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Really
some towns have put up signs that say, don't do this, give it to a local charity or something like that. Because from what I understood, they ended up finding that these people were like kind of, I'll use the term gang loosely because they're not a gang in terms of a violent people, but they'd get them together and they'd kind of put them in certain areas and then they pool their money later and they're getting picked up by like nice vehicles. They always had reasonably decent clothing and things like that. Real life scamming, exactly. Because people are going to be sympathetic to that. I mean, we're all like, oh, I feel bad. The only ones I ever give to if it's me on the road is when I see, I see them actually up in Nashua and I see them down in Lowell on the Boulevard when I used to live down in Pawtuckettville. The church groups, those guys are cool because they have the reflective vests. They have documentation that says who they are and where they're from and so on. And those I'm okay with. But like the ones that like pretend to be a veteran, those really rub me the wrong way. Like all those different things, like I'm a veteran, out of work, need this, need that. I've only ever seen one guy in the last couple of years that looked legitimately like an actual veteran. Not that you can necessarily tell them by face, but you kind of can, sort of, if you've seen enough of them. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you can sort of tell. I don't know, but that really irks me when they play off on things like that, or like have 7 kids and like struggle. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. If you have 7 kids, you're going to be out looking for a job. Or probably working somewhere. You're not going to be standing on a corner. I don't know. I mean, those irk me. I don't like those.
It's a thing too, where just again, it depends on like your area too, and if like it has like a known drug problem or anything else like that. Because again, like your money can be going towards like anywhere really. Right. I'm more likely to like offer up like an unused water bottle that I have, or food, or anything else like that. Like. Yep. Again, like if I can spare it,
right?
That's the way to go. Offer them like, here, I'll get you lunch. Yeah. I'll stop over to Wendy's and grab you, a burger or something like that. If that's if you're really hungry.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? I've heard stories of people offering that stuff though, and then the panhandler is like, nah, I don't want that. I want money. And they want to go buy booze. Yeah. They want to go buy alcohol. So I don't know. I don't give to them myself, but
yeah. Yeah. Again, it could be for like a multitude of reasons,
right?
For sure.
Who knows, really? I mean, I don't know the legalities. That would be a good question for the chief, though. I do think I heard that it was a free speech thing, though, that you couldn't stop because it was like
Is that like a
public
a s-
not
is
public
that a
assembly. What was the
statewide
wording?
thing?
What's that?
Is that a statewide thing?
I mean, free speech is the
Like nation.
Constitution. So
Nationwide.
yeah, I mean that's.
Well, he said
you
in
can't-
Tyngsborough. so
can't
that's why I
discriminate
was-
against- Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So I don't think towns can't say they can't do it. I believe unless you're doing it and it's harming public safety. That's a potential. If you're like running around the street or something, you know what I mean, like something like that. Then I think they can do something. But
I've never been like attacked or
Oh, I
harassed
just
know.
by a
and I don't think they
panhandler
would.
before.
They just stand there and look sad. pretty much,
Panhandling
you know.
laws.
Yeah, because like
They hold their head low and they just kind of like you
some
know.
people smile and be like, "What's up?" and like you can either make the eye contact or not.
Oh
and
man,
it's
the
like,
eye contact is the worst. You try to like stare at your stereo or like
It's just
stare
like,
straight
what are we
ahead. Or
doing?
oh, it's so bad. You feel bad too because you're
You
like,
do.
I want to believe this person, but then so many of them are not legit that you're
Oh,
like, you know.
That comes. I guess that kind of boils
No,
down to
yeah,
like
you're
this
right.
faith and humanity and all that.
Right about what?
So it says the growing number of. Let me look. 'Cause I don't know. It
All right,
says,
read the thing before we. Yeah.
It says. Well, it says its growth in support of panhandlers' free speech rights under the First Amendment, but
Okay.
it says this Supreme Court has never addressed this issue directly.
Which makes it right. Yeah, probably hasn't ever been
Right.
brought up, but yeah, I thought I had heard that was a
Interesting.
free speech thing. So, oh well, you know.
I guess like anyone can stand on a corner and do anything, really.
Mhm.
Like as long as it's like not
Well,
harming anything. or
People
things
stand on the
like that.
corner. They do preach
Yeah.
whatever religion they want to
You could.
preach, or they
Break
you know
dance.
break dance, right? They,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with standing on the street corner. You know,
Right.
I always get a little
it's your right to
distracted
be able
though,
to-
like when I'm driving and I see like, for instance, like the Moe's. You know how Moe's has like people dancing outside.
Oh, yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
with
yeah.
the sign.
What?
It's like tacos. and they'll
Oh.
like be dancing. And I'm
I
like,
always pity tax time when they have the guy in the Liberty suit that's standing up.
I like can't help
Those
it,
are
like-
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or the big sales at like whatever store, and they have
Yeah.
the signs, and they look like so pathetic standing out there. It's like you feel bad for them. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel
Ooh.
like a little bad for them.
It's like,
Like,
oh man.
just stand out on the street corner all day long. Ugh, not a job I'd want to do, but hey, you know, more
some
power
people
to
get
them.
really into it though. Like
They
when
do.
I look at them,
Yeah.
they're like
And
really
those ones are
like,
fun. They're
breaking it
entertaining.
down.
Yeah, they're entertaining, twirling it all around.
When I'm
It's
at like a
definitely.
red light, I'm just like entertainment.
It's just like, you know what? You learned a skill today. You know.
That's funny. Let's see. How did you get from robocalls?
I don't know how that happened.
I'm not sure.
I-
Let's talk about this. Let's go to WoW Air.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about this. So, I don't know if you guys heard about it. You probably have it this on social media. But, it's out of Iceland, right?
Sure, yeah, I think it's about airline.
Yeah, it's a airline. Yeah. Apparently, this even affected some Logan Airport travelers, but they just like completely shut down in the middle of operations, like in the middle of like flying people back and forth. They landed everybody and grounded all flights and didn't pick up the new passengers to bring them to the next locations
Yeah.
and just left people high and dry,
That's
like
not
Same
hanging.
with employees too. The employees like didn't know.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like,
Wow.
There was this one I was watching,
How does that happen?
and the woman was like, I have like a baby. I don't know how I'm gonna like feed the baby next week. 'cause
Jeez.
They
This-
literally were given no warning.
So here's the tweet from Logan Airport. They said passenger advisory: WoW Air has ceased operation. All WoW Air flights have been canceled. Passengers scheduled to travel with WoW Air should not travel to the airport and should instead visit this link for more information. Blah blah blah.
But it's
WoWair.com.
weird. I was watching the news yesterday, and there was a guy who was flying WoW Air later that day,
Mhm.
and he like was able to check into his flight that morning. He like pulled up the itinerary on his phone. He's like, I checked into this flight, and now like he was like at the airport. He's like, I don't have it. He's like saying that all the other ones are offering emergency fares, but they're still more expensive than what
Well, I mean, it's still
WoW would have been.
a ticket,
So-
an immediate ticket is not cheap. If you're getting one
Yeah.
like you need it that minute, it's wicked expensive as
Right.
opposed to if you book it way out.
Right.
You know, so
So like they were kind of just
just left hanging. I mean,
Really
that's
left hanging,
awful. I mean,
yeah.
we're kind of joking a little, but it's not funny. I mean,
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
no.
people who got caught up in this, like, man, that stinks.
yeah, that
Right.
really
I'd be
stinks.
mad.
It's an eternal layover. Maybe not eternal, but still like a layover that's unexpected. You're like,
Right.
What am I gonna do here?
Right.
Like, guess I live in like, I don't know. Like I don't even know. Like, where was it just like all spread out? Like because of the airline itself, or like where were they all congregated?
I don't know. I mean, some were at Logan, obviously, and some were probably in other places, I would assume, wherever they flew, wherever they went to.
It's kind of sketchy, honestly. Like
Yeah.
just very weird.
I'd be wicked mad. I mean, the worst like
Oh my
layover
God.
I ever had was when we flew to Athens, and we didn't have our next leg planned already. We were going up to Thessaloniki, and didn't have our next flight
Uh-huh.
booked. We were just going to do it when we got there.
Okay.
And it was like I don't speak Greek. My grandfather speaks Greek, but he can be tough to communicate with because he speaks Greek pretty thickly.
Sure.
And so it was one of these like, well, what do we do now? Well, let's go to the counter and find an airline that flies to that place and, you know, book the thing and do all that stuff. And then we ended up on this plane. I'm not even kidding you. They had chickens and like it was legit like country style flight to up to it was wicked funny. My God, it was like the craziest thing.
I feel like people would pay for that experience specifically.
I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. Other than the bumpy ride,
sure,
you know, because it was a smaller plane. It was fun. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Everyone gives Spirit crap about how bad of an airline they are. I flew Spirit once and I had a good experience. Like it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it depends on the airline.
I had a pleasant experience.
Yeah. I mean, there's been those stories that have come out in the last bunch of years, like they go after people with their service dog, or like somebody. What was the one? Somebody was like smelly or something like that, and they like wouldn't let them. They kicked them off the plane.
I heard about this.
Or her. I forget what. I don't remember the exact details, but like there's been a lot of these like crazy. And I think that's the you know crux of the bad experiences for folks. But then I guess like some of the budget ones I was reading, they don't give you like peanuts and some of the little amenities that you'd get on most regular airlines. So that's kind of where
if you're taking a short flight, like
right, who cares? You bring your own peanuts. You know, like I'm not worried about
it.
So the kicker is though, if you want a blanket, this happened to my wife and I when we were flying back from Barbados. We happened to be sitting on the aisle that has the ejection door on it, so you can get out.
I'm always stuck on those.
Oh man, it's the worst, and it's freezing cold next to that thing, and it's loud because you can hear the noise. You know what I mean? And they didn't want to give me a blanket because they're like, because we weren't first class, we were just in regular coach class.
Oh wow!
And blankets aren't included in that. And I'm like, lady, I'm freezing. We just came from Barbados, hot as can be. I'm wearing literally like a t-shirt and shorts, and I'm freezing. It was awful.
It's so weird. Airplanes are either like wicked hot or wicked cold.
Yeah, they really
I
are.
never know how to dress, so I always just like wear like a t-shirt and then like long sleeves, like just in case. You never.
It was rough though. It was a rough flight home. They ended up giving me a blanket, and I was like, it's those thin fleece type blankets, and I'm like wrapped in this thing. Like
I'm always
I bet
cold
it
too.
felt like first class though. You know, being wrapped in that blanket.
Kind of, yeah, right. Seriously, I wish I could have got sat up in first class. That would have been nice. But that was kind of funny. But yeah, I feel bad for anybody who gets stuck. That's pretty classy.
Yeah,
man, how does that happen? I don't know.
I'm wondering if it had anything to do with like budgets or anything else like that. Like probably not, but like
I'm sure it was a money issue.
Hearing, like, something.
Well, I'm pretty sure they did say it was a financial thing, but
like maybe they just couldn't afford the fuel in the planes to fly them back or something. I don't know.
It says the company released a statement overnight saying they were in the final stages of raising money with a group of investors, and that they were postponing all flights until documentation with all parties involved were finalized. And then they released a travel alert saying they were shutting down and grounding all flights.
I feel like
it said they ceased operations because of financial problems. But it's a business, and
I feel like
they left a lot of people stranded.
You're like an airline though, especially like something that is like transportation is your thing. It's not just like the train. It's not like the commuter rail, nothing else. This is like a plane. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is people are hopping over oceans here.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're going long distances. This isn't like you can get off and jump on a bus and go home in 20 minutes.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I guess I'll Uber here now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm gonna Uber to Iceland, please.
Yeah.
Imagine that rate.
Wow, that's a long drive. Much less the bill for that one. Forget about it. Just quickly before we continue on, so just so everybody knows, thanks everybody for tuning in, by the way, and commenting. If you're watching, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, tyngsboroughma.gov, on our video on demand and streaming service, and on Comcast 8 Verizon Channel 29 here in the town of Tyngsborough. If you have any questions or you want to chat with us, feel free to chime in on Facebook or YouTube. We'll be checking those and seeing what people are saying. So just having some fun today, kind of goofing off. The chief is supposed to be here. He's going to come on hopefully next week. I talked to him a few minutes ago. Let's see if he messaged me back. Yes, he will be here next Friday.
Nice.
So he'll be here next Friday, so we'll chat with him about some stuff. I got a few subjects we want to talk about. And if you guys ever have any questions of our guests, feel free to email those in sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov, or you can send them through Facebook during the show as we do the show, so you can ask questions that way. But he's always a really good guest. He's obviously the chief of police of the town, so he's got usually some good answers to things. And if he doesn't, we figure it out. We're going to try to find out from whoever knows the answer. So, but yeah, he's always a cool guest to have on. Good to talk about some stuff. Trying to get some other neat things planned with him too. I want to do sort of a gear tour of like a cruiser. I think it'd be kind of fun to take a look.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, take a look in a cruiser and just kind of go through all the stuff that's in there and things like that. I think it'd be fun to look at.
Yeah.
As well as an officer themselves. Like, what do they have nowadays? You know, body armor and the belt. They're like Batman nowadays with everything attached to their belt kind of thing. I'm surprised they don't have a batarang yet. Attached to like a building and zip themselves up or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Out of curiosity, though, do all of our guests have to be Tyngsborough based?
Not always, no. It could be other things. Yeah, why would you have in mind?
One of my friends actually is a food scientist. That's what he like majored in and things like that.
Yeah.
So he does like all like the flavoring types of things and like just like being like, oh, and like he's actually a very big Oreo fanatic too. He hates chocolate, but he's like really into, but like he's really into like the whole like thing about like how does Oreo manufacture a peanut butter flavor or a marshmallow flavor
with all the chemical mixes and stuff that they make?
He's the one doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
He actually,
what a
like,
unique job. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
very unique. And like and every time he talks about it, I'm like, it's so fascinating. So I feel like he loves this type of stuff.
So he's got a very highly trained nose, I would imagine, because that's one of the. So remember, I think it was Mike Rowe. He did on a Dirty Jobs episode that they were making. He went to the chemist and they were making the sense of all these things, and the guy even showed him how to make like a poop smell.
Yeah.
Ew.
You could do
But
it.
they did but they mixed up some different things, and I forget what it was they mixed, but they mixed up some different things, and they made like these different scents as they were talking about it. It was really, but that would be fascinating. Yeah, talk to him, see if he'll come on the show.
Yeah, no,
Wow,
definitely.
that's
That'd be a fun
wicked
guest
cool.
to have on. Yeah.
Speaking of
that'd be neat.
Oreos, I love Oreos so much.
I love Oreos.
They're
Too.
just
They're
awesome.
really good. They're like the classic, just really good cookie.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're so good.
I wish they weren't so bad for me.
I
but-
had like 4 yesterday. And
Did you?
yeah.
I can never eat just 4. I'm not going to talk about them anymore because I'm going to want some.
Double stuffed are the best.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like the spring yellow. I don't know I know it doesn't taste different, but somehow it feels different.
Yeah.
You know.
I haven't tried those.
I'm not a big fan of the flavored ones
Me
that they've
either.
had.
I
I
like
tried.
the classic.
Yeah, me too. I tried the. They had a cinnamon cookie with
the cinnamon bun one.
like the cinnamon bun. They had a red velvet one that was okay.
Okay.
Actually, the one I did like other than the regular Oreo was the mint one that they did. That was awesome. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
I tried the peanut butter. I was kind of meh. I'd rather a peanut butter cup.
Sure.
But the
Yeah.
mint one was really good. I enjoyed that very much.
I want
That was my
Oreos.
favorite. Now, yeah. Stop talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
We always somehow get talking about food.
I know.
And I like get
Seriously.
so hungry.
Yeah, we're recording during peak lunch hours.
I know, right? Everybody's probably like getting ready to chow down.
Everyone's just munching on some Cape Cod chips. Apple at home.
That's funny. Let's move on to this scam thing since we were kind of talking about it a little earlier. There are a whole bunch of scams going on. So in town, if you guys ever listen to the scanner, which I usually have on behind me here, at least I'm going to say at least once a week, maybe a little bit less frequently, but not much. You'll hear somebody's gone into the department who wants to report a scam. These guys are absolutely ruthless and brutal. So just, obviously this only reaches to TV and social media, but if you have relatives, elderly relatives, they seem to be the ones that are preyed on the most, but then younger folks as well who haven't been experienced with this stuff. Ray Sam's got an interesting story we'll talk about in a minute, but just let them know that if somebody asks you for money and they want you to send it through a gift card or Western Union or MoneyGram or whatever, and it sounds fishy,
Red
it
flag.
is fake. Huge red flag. If they tell you how to pay you and they need it immediately, like you have to pay us now in order to keep your electricity on or keep your water flowing or, get your nephew Timmy out of jail or something crazy like that. All fake, completely fake and bogus. The IRS will never call you. The Tyngsborough police will never call you. There's a whole bunch of these things. They don't call you looking for money. The legit groups, anyways, don't call you looking for money.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, I shouldn't say the Tyngsborough police wouldn't call you because they do have a fundraising group that might call you. But that said, so that was bad, I guess. But that said, if you want to donate to these things, go right to the source. If you want to donate to the police union or you want to donate to whatever the group may be, go right to them. The Red Cross or any of those foundations that get set up after an event. This has happened with tons of these things too. 9/11, there was one. I believe with the Boston Marathon, there was one too.
So messed up.
It's really bad. And there's so many ways. Like, let's go over the list real quick of all these different types before we get to your story, Ray Sam, because I think we'll wrap it up on that conversation with that.
Sure.
But, so there's the, do you have this website open?
I don't.
Okay, so
I can look it up though. What's the
Google
website?
FTC, Federal Trade Commission scams. And you should be able to get this list of scams here. And
I
we'll
got
go
a
over
list
this
here
list.
too.
Yeah, so while she's pulling that up, there's the...
I got it, I think. Is this it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
You got it. Yep. So there's the IRS scam, obvious one. They will never call you telling you have to pay them right away.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to go about it a different way. If they want their money, they're going to find a way, and it's usually just to go right to your bank account.
Right.
The IRS. It's the government. They can do that. But, yeah, so there's the IRS scam, totally bogus. There's been Medicare scams. There's been these tech support scams where they call you and they want to fix your computer. Never, ever let anybody into your computer in any way, shape, or form. That's really bad, because then suddenly they have access to your computer and anything you've ever done on it.
Yeah.
Including accessing your bank accounts, all of that fun stuff. So good luck with that if you let them in. Don't.
Yeah.
That's really the biggest thing. Let's see what else they got. They got calls from Social Security, phishing. This is a big one. So so phishing is basically they send out a bunch of emails to, well, all the email addresses they have. It starts with a hack of somebody's email address, whether it's like a Yahoo or a Gmail or some type of email account. They get a bunch of emails in that person's account, and then they start sending out these phishing emails, which is like, we need you to donate to this cause really quickly because it's important and it's an emergency. They make up whatever the cause is, and the email looks like it's coming from your friend, but they spoof it. They'll change a letter or a couple of digits in the actual email address, and then if you send them money, they got you. You're out that cash. So, Raysam, you unfortunately got caught up in this thing.
I got caught up.
Tell us about this.
All right. So this was earlier in the year, I would say. And essentially what had happened is that I got this email from somebody who claimed to be my pastor.
Okay.
However, like you said, like the actual email itself was changed ever so slightly. And the actual address itself, like you'll never see this like in the actual email. If again, I'm like using Gmail as example because that's what it was. They'll show like the actual name of the person itself and not the email, right? But it was at a different host site, and that's like the thing that I didn't know because it was like smaller and it was like in gray and things like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like looking at this email quickly, and they framed it and being like, hey, Raysam, like, how are you? Like, I need something. Like, it's a real emergency. I'm doing pastoral care with this girl with cancer, and again, she's like, oh, I would never like usually ask you for like, but like, do you have this money that I can use within like a gift card to be able to give to this little girl, and I'll pay you right back. And again, normally if it's like your pastor, like you like go to Sunday, like to the church and do all that kind of stuff. But again, like because like I have a good relationship with her, and again, that's part of like the phishing thing too, where I'm thinking like they have definitely gone through my emails at a certain point because they notice that I frequently talk to my pastor via email, right? Something that like you should be like wary of too is that I tried asking for like her phone number because like I didn't have it on me at that moment, and they would try and like avoid the question. Like they would just be like,
or they ignore it altogether.
Exactly.
I imagine,
yeah,
right?
no, like they'll be like, oh, it's just a real emergency and it needs to happen immediately. So I go like do the thing, and I'm thinking.
And how did you end up transferring the money to them?
It was via a gift card. Scratching off the code and then getting. I know it was like a thing too, where because I'm thinking just like what is happening, you never take time to pause and just think. And that's
because the thing they do. They make it like urgent.
Right.
So
they have that sense of urgency that
urgent and emotional, especially. And the thing is too is that like right after that thing too, like, and I was just like, I need this thing. And after again, like later on, I was able to like network through like a different friend to be able to like actually get a hold of my pastor. And after my pastor was just like, Raysam, that is not me. That is not me at all.
How did, like, you must have felt terrible.
I felt like terrible. I was just like, who is this? Like, do I know them? All these other types of things too. And another thing that's like crazy is that like I went through the whole process. I talked to the bank, police. Like I even like sent it off to like the FCC at the time. However, funny enough, it was going on during the government shutdown.
No.
Yeah, no. It was very funny because they were just.
So
like,
you'll never hear back from that one. Probably. And like 10 years later, hey, we got your email about
it's like, oh, by the way, yeah, no, it's funny. Like I would like go to the site, and after they're like, oh yeah, like Raysam, we're closed, and I'm like, okay,
that stinks.
Yeah,
and you were out, but you learned a valuable lesson from that. I
definitely did,
right?
and they actually tried contacting me like the next day. To like the next morning. And
oh really?
Yeah. No,
the FTC did?
No. The person who was phishing me.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like they the next day was just like, because like again like they were like, oh, it's not enough. Like I need something else more. And definitely like I should have been tipped earlier, but like my big tipping point was just like, okay, so who is this little girl with cancer that is so ungrateful for this amount of money because it was a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And like not to say like, but like usually like if you go to like hospital things like that, like they're thankful for like anything, you know, like especially if you're in that position. And again, it was just a thing where like they were playing on like the right cards, they're hitting the right beats type of thing. Yeah,
that's how they do it. They're good. Silver tongue swindlers. I imagine the follow-up emails were a lot of caps with a lot of expletives involved.
Oh yeah, no. Actually,
from you, I mean, like I'd be like,
no, like because like when that happens though, like I remember doing a bunch of research on it. They were like, oh, do not engage with them at all.
Oh really?
Yeah, because like if you engage with them, like that gives them even more of an in to get other information from you. Don't know exactly how it works, but like that's just like what I
don't think they could get much from 4-letter words from me.
Like probably like just like
sorry folks, but yeah, that's how I would be. If you scam me, you're getting blasted, and it's not going to be pretty.
Blasted.
That email is going to be
actually no, I think that
follow up
that might actually pertain more to phone calls actually. Because as soon as like you answer that after they were like, oh, blah blah blah, like they're like, don't do it because it could be like, oh, this is definitely an active line, and we can keep bombarding this number with different ones.
Oh, right, okay. I mean, they've already got your phone number, so they can call you anyway.
Yeah, no, I get the point. Don't say anything.
Yeah. Well, that too, and like I was saying earlier about them recording your voice and being able to then take snippets and. You know, suddenly, that's probably not good. I mean, if it's an email, it's one thing, I guess. That's a different story. I wouldn't be afraid to tell them what for in that one. But that's a tough one. Sorry to hear that happen. That's not cool.
Learning moments.
Yes. Life is life is one big learning experience. That's for sure. I've learned that. I'm always learning every day.
Yeah.
Man, that's disappointing. So just be careful if you get caught up in any or you get called. They're all scams. Quite honestly, they're probably all scams. Anything you get, any phone call you get. What else did they have here? They had the phishing. Did I tell you about so I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's been this Facebook meme going around, and it was a picture of a room with like this absolute mountain of cash in the room. Like it looked like probably billions of dollars in this picture, and who knows where it came from. And the caption is, you know, this. The Nigerian prince or whatever finally passed away, and all he wanted to do was give back all this money. It was really funny. I don't know, make light of it, but man, it was pretty funny.
There's also the putting cash in the mail. Wasn't there a story where like a grandmother was told the same exact thing that her nephew was in jail and that she needed to send money in the mail?
Really?
Pretty sure
so that's always a bad idea. You never want to send cash. I've sent like a dollar bill to something, but you never want to send cash in the mail. That's just not smart. Because somebody can intercept that very easily, actually, and not even just the mailman. It could be somebody, you know.
Oh yeah, like you see when like the mail like arrives to your house. All you gotta just do is be like a nosy enough neighbor,
right?
And just be like, oh, they're gone.
You could walk up and down the street right behind the mailman going through. I mean, it's easy enough. I'm sure. You know, I'm not trying to give anybody ideas.
Oh yeah,
but,
no.
You know, but it can happen.
Yeah.
What
this
else
is
did
from
they
the
have?
FTC.
Okay.
People 70 and over report to the FTC that they paid a scammer with cash, but for one particular type of fraud, family and friend imposters. And then the median cash amount sent by people 70 plus is $9,000. That's so sad.
That's sad because I mean that's people's like life savings, retirement money. You know, maybe it was their trip money or something. I don't know. And it preys on, like with you, it preys on the emotions. Like, oh, you know, help me out. I'll give it right back to you. It's this little girl who's going to like fly off to Mars or something in the next 5 minutes. So if you don't give me money really quickly or whatever, they make up these crazy stories.
Scammers use personal details from social media sites to make their stories more believable.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, they control, and that's another problem with social media. They control your social media page, and suddenly they know a lot about you because we post a lot.
Yeah.
So social media can be really good, but it can be really bad.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I like it, but
with the dog, like that was awesome.
That was an awesome use of social media. I was super happy. Thank you again to everybody who like helped with that. That was really cool. 19 minutes it took to get that dog back to his owners. But you're right; it can be used for nefarious purposes, and it's annoying, you know.
Just gotta be careful.
It's one of those things where it's just like depending on what you put in, that is like as much as they're gonna get in that way.
Right.
However, like it's another thing too, where I think I remember hearing you can get hacked through your friends, like just like within being friends with certain people, like that you're exposed to that network.
Yep.
You know, because like. It's all connected in that way.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it depends. Right, your friends list can actually be part of the that they use. You know, so on that note, actually, I want to mention this real quick. if you're ever surfing around on the internet, you're out on the web and you're doing stuff, and you'll get sometimes these like pages that'll pop up and it'll say, you know, you should change your password on Facebook now, or change your Twitter password, or your email password, or whatever it is. And it looks like it's from a legit source. So you click on it, you go and you enter your password information. They actually have just captured your password, username and password, because it's a fake page. You've never seen these?
No.
It's a fake page, looks totally legit until you really, really start like squinting and looking down at the real fine stuff down at the bottom, and you know, the link and stuff like that. A lot of time, in fact, most of the time, it's a bogus page, and they've used that to capture people's password information. Yeah, it happens. I've seen them. I've caught a few. I had Apple send me emails, and it was supposedly Apple, but it was actually like Apple something with, you know, some extra text.com. But it started with Apple. It looked like an Apple tech support thing, and it had a little couple extra characters. And I was smart enough to look at the link, or rather the email address.
No, definitely.
Yeah, but man, they're smart. They're really, really smart. They know how to get us. If they really want to. Luckily, they haven't gotten me, but
definitely. I would also say beware of the bait and switch, especially on the home sharing apps, like, or like maybe not home sharing, but like rather like the rental type thing, like Airbnb.
Airbnb
like
stuff.
Yes, that is a big thing.
There's been a lot of that lately with the
definitely.
Airbnbs. People
Didn't you experience?
Waiting for people, and you said you almost went to the wrong address, right?
Oh no! Oh, oof.
What was the story now?
Wow. So this was in New York. So you could only imagine like what could have happened there.
Yeah, all right. I mean, anywhere really, but yeah.
I mean, like, yes. I always like phrase the question, like the story, be like, I could have potentially be human trafficked.
Jeez,
like that's
really?
like the type of thing. So me and my friend were going to New York, and again, this is my first time using Airbnb. Okay. So I was just like not really as familiar with what the thing was. However, talking to the person, because again, like it lets you to go back and forth and like do all this kind of stuff, right? Yep. And then once like you actually buy the Airbnb, then it actually reveals like the right address for it. Right?
Okay. So you don't know the address until you actually pay.
Yeah, it gives you a general vicinity of where it might be. And I was trying to like be like, close by to Times Square. Okay. And I was just like, okay, this is one that's like within my price range. This is like one within that. However, once like you actually get the purchase and it goes through and you contact the person, then the actual address is revealed. Right.
That makes sense for security reasons, right? Yeah,
exactly. However, I believe it was like the day right before we like had to like go. Yeah. Right. I got the address from like the person like emailed me, gave me a thing again, being like, oh, by the way, like this is the address. And after I'm like, okay. And then I send that address to my friend. My friend was like, oh, Racy, I'm like, that's not the same address on the Airbnb too, because like I sent her a screenshot of that. Oh. And after that, I followed up with this person. I was just like, so what's the deal here? And after they're like, oh, blah 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 this, blah 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 that. And after I'm like, nah, support's coming in here. So honestly though, shout out to Airbnb support, because like not only did they find out what was happening immediately, like they were right on my side with that. They did a follow up with like the person who was supposed to be my host and things like that. The person never got back to them. I told them like Airbnb is looking for you, and
that's scary.
Wow,
it was crazy. And like not only that, but like again, like this was like literally like a hour or two before my friend had to come and pick me up before we went to go to New York.
Wow, really?
And it was just such like a quick turnaround too. And after they were able to be like, hey, we got you a new Airbnb within like the same range. Like you don't got to pay for anything else. In fact, we'll give you like the difference cost between like what you paid before and like the one that we got now.
Really?
Like honestly, because like it's like a thing where like you have to usually do these things weeks in advance. And the Airbnb was just like, nah, Raysan, we got you an hour before.
Nice.
And I'm like,
that's awesome.
And it was crazy. And I forgot, like, again, like I was at a point too where I was like pissed, and I was just like, so like what, like talking to like my former host and being like, oh, so what was your excuse? And after they were like, oh, the address is where my father lives, and I don't want that information just out there on an app. And after I'm thinking like, okay, so like if you
clearly they don't know how Airbnb works.
Exactly. I'm like, yo, like,
wow, that's crazy.
How would you like Airbnb is not for you?
Well, I mean that could have been something.
Oh,
you know, like you said, human trafficking or worse. I mean, it could have been. We've heard about. There's been some murders, I believe, related to Airbnb. So, like, not to knock Airbnb, of course. Oh, no, clearly, they did everything they could to make it right.
Definitely.
Yeah, and keep you safe. Yes. So that's a good thing to know.
Right. No.
Wow.
They stay really on top of that. But like, imagine.
Yeah. I mean, they have to. Right. Yeah. That's their reputation on the line right there. Nobody would use it if, you know, just like the things that were happening with Uber and stuff. You know, you know, there was some incidences that happen with the Uber. So they have to keep their reputation. But wow,
that's
crazy. You're a target. You got to be careful, man.
I know.
Yeah, dude, they're after you. Jeez.
Seriously.
If I were you, I'd be careful wherever I go online and in person.
I need to really be careful.
No kidding, man. Wow, that's nuts. So we're reaching the end of the show. It's actually noontime now. Thanks everybody for watching. This is really cool. There's a bunch of people that've been in and out and stuff like that and watching. So I appreciate all that. Let's before we wrap up. Yeah, we'll do the weather in a sec. There's one more thing I want to talk about this because this is funny. This Disneyland thing.
Oh yeah.
So Disneyland. We love Disneyland. Everybody loves Disneyland. Disney World, actually. I think which one is in Florida and which one's in California?
Florida's World.
Florida's World. Right. Okay, that's what I thought. Land is California. World is the other one. Okay. So they've banned some stuff at Disney World and their properties, all of their properties, I imagine. So there's no more. Do you have the article, by the way?
I'll pull it up.
Okay. So as the story goes, they banned smoking. Totally fine, right? I have no problem with that. Banning smoking on all their properties. They used to have like some smoking areas in Disney World, but those are now going to be gone apparently. They also banned the strollers over certain sizes, so they're limiting them to 31 inches by 52.
Which website are you on?
I'm on. This is Yahoo.
Okay.
So
I'm on New York Times.
Okay. So I believe it's supposed to limit like the double wide strollers with the extra thing because you can pack like 3-4 kids in some of these things.
Oh yeah.
With the bag holders and they get really big. So they're trying to basically improve flow. It sounds like in terms of the actual the park usage and people in there. How many thousands and thousands of people go there every day, right? So they limited the size of the strollers. They didn't necessarily ban strollers, but they limited the size of the strollers you could bring in. And then the other one, I don't understand. We were talking about this before we went on.
It doesn't actually include that one on this website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on Yahoo.
Oh, I found the one that
you get the Yahoo one? Okay.
Yeah.
The last piece, though, this is what kind of boggles my mind. Scroll down there to where it starts talking about this. It says last Disney parks are cracking down on ice. So they... And yes, they mean frozen water, by the way.
Not port secured.
No, right, yeah. That would be a bad thing to... Wow, bringing that in on... that'd be kind of funny, right?
Actually not loaded.
No? Mickey Mouse.
Oh, you've got a video. You don't have the actual story. That's okay. So anyways, I'll read it to you. So it says, last Disney parks are cracking down on... This is by Yahoo, by the way. Yes, the frozen water kind. Specifically, they're taking issue with those... with loose and dry ice. I'm not sure who... I've never seen anybody bring dry ice to the... I was like, what? Yeah, we were all reading this like, huh? Like, who brings dry ice to the park? But I guess it makes sense. I don't know. But loose and dry ice, which guests will no longer be allowed to bring into parks. The ice ban will improve guest flow. Somebody want to explain that one to me? I'm not really sure how that works. Yeah, how does that improve guest flow if you can't bring ice? Yeah, somebody tell me. But it'll also ease congestion and streamline the bag check and entry process. Do they have to inspect every ice cube?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm
I've never
confused.
even heard of people bringing ice.
I mean, I didn't realize you could bring coolers into the into the place because of security and whatever. But ice is a problem. I don't know. I don't understand. We must be missing something. It's got to be something that they're not telling us.
I feel like they're trying to boost up numbers at the new Frozen attraction. So
maybe
that's the only place you can get ice in the park.
They're coming out with part 2, so maybe that's the whole.
It's a sponsor.
Right. It's a way to get them to go to the Frozen park. But then it says the guideline states that reusable ice packs are allowed. And cups of ice are available at no charge from any park location that sells beverages. They're going to go through so much ice, it's not even going to be funny.
Yeah, it's only going to be the one cup for your cooler.
Right, yeah, exactly. But it says you can have as much as you want, though. It says cups of ice are available. It doesn't say as much as you want.
But wait in a line to get it.
See, no, but
I would think so. Yeah,
is that theme parks always find some way to be able to finesse in that way? Because I remember going to Universal Studios, and my family were like, "Oh, the price for one soda for all of us would be expensive. Let's just get the unlimited cup," and it's like a big cup, mind you. Yeah. So the thing is that they put it on a sensor, right? So that way you can't use any other cup besides that one. However, you can only fill it up, I believe, every hour or so.
What?
Yeah, they found a way to be able to engineer the cup and the machine that actually dispenses it. So you can't just keep on doing it. You have to wait an hour or two.
I mean, I get it. You gotta make money.
Yeah, but you're when you hear unlimited cup, you want to be able to just go anywhere.
It gets to a point of all right, now you're just kind of taking advantage of me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It would have been more feasible to just get one
for all. They get so much money on passes. With
Oh,
people paying
definitely.
tickets to get in there.
It's expensive too,
Yeah.
and then we're not ripping on Disney World. I mean, they put up some absolutely insane stuff
Right.
in their parks.
But they're getting enough money.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the movies and all the money. I don't know. I'm not going to rip on it. I'm just wow. I'll leave it.
All right.
Wow. That's all I have to say.
Wow.
We're just like ripping any potential chance for Disney to sponsor.
Right? Yeah, I know, right? Seriously, sorry, Disney. No offense, of course. I mean, it's
We're
their park.
about
They could
it.
do whatever they
Yeah.
want to do. But I just thought it was funny, the ice thing. Smoking thing, I have no problem with. They banned it
Yeah.
in bars
I think
already.
that's actually like a good thing.
Yeah, they banned it in
Ooh.
bars a long time ago. I remember playing in bands back when you could still smoke, and then the
Mhm.
ban went in place years later.
Mm.
And man, what a difference that made, because we
Wow.
went from you'd go home at the end of the night and you'd want to go home just so you could take a shower because you
Right.
reeked of cigarette. I mean, it was just brutal. You could actually smell it like washing off of you. It was that bad.
Okay.
But then they banned it in all the bars, and it was like a whole new ball game. I mean,
Right.
really, you could breathe now. I didn't go home hacking and wheezing. I used to go home and have I'd get congested and all
Oh,
this
wow,
stuff.
yeah.
It was brutal.
Ew.
And then that just all stopped. It all went away. It was weird. It was
Wow.
really cool, and
Interesting.
I have no problem with that at all. Just ban it away. I mean, if you're a cigarette smoker these days, sorry, it's kind of one of those things. Like,
Wait, but did they say like it's smoking altogether, or are they also mentioning like
Completely.
juuling and wow.
did they mention
Vapes and-
vapes?
yeah, no.
That's a good question.
Because I feel like if they had to make a designated place, I'd probably
Yeah, I don't
think
know.
like
Well, they had designated
If they-
smoking
outside
areas.
of the
Yeah.
parks, though, is
All
where
it says
the-
currently all of these locations have designated smoking areas, which
Mhm.
will be removed.
all the
um,
designated places will be. Like
Oh,
outside the
and yes,
parks, so-
vaping is banned too. It's in parentheses.
Okay,
Yep, there
cool.
it is.
Wow.
So yeah,
Mm.
no vaping, no nothing. Yeah,
Wow.
those big, huge
Oh.
clouds of smoke that
Yeah.
people put out with the vaping thing.
the
on it.
cotton candy.
Man, so interestingly, our health department, I've talked to them about this, and we had them on a while back, talking about vaping with respect to health. And apparently you can end up with there are some health issues. It's not totally safe
Oh yeah,
as
no.
they claim it to be. You get
It's not-
it's
yeah,
called
it's definitely
popcorn lung.
popcorn lung.
Yeah, and
Popcorn
you
lung?
never heard of this?
No.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh.
And it can be semi-permanent too if you continuously do it, and you can end up with issues in your lungs, nearly as bad as the nicotine coating your
Wow.
lungs. You end up with this popcorn lung. Yeah, Google it. It's really interesting.
Oh.
So not safe, totally. So
Okay.
even I would imagine the secondhand smoke from that would be the same thing. You'd get some kind of reaction probably
Right,
if you're
yeah.
getting these massive clouds of it blown in your face. Probably not a good
I
thing either.
hate
So
that so much.
it's kind of a
I really just it's just annoying.
I feel like this
have
day
some
and age, like
yeah.
smoke, it's not like we're not in the 40s and 50s anymore.
I
like,
just think it's kind of
know what I mean?
disrespectful. Like if you're
yeah,
just
you know,
walking-
like
yeah.
the doctor'd be smoking
Yeah.
a Camel cigarette in his doctor. Have you ever seen these ads they had?
No, well, like
you
that's
know.
kind of part of the thing though, where it's just like they don't do commercials for cigarettes
Well, they can't.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it was banned. But you used to see, like, I've seen old commercials where the doctor would be sitting at his desk smoking a Camel cigarette or whatever brand, Lucky Strikes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Be like, doctors everywhere approve of smoking Camel cigarettes, whatever flavor, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They'd have this whole thing. And the doctor's just puffing away, doing his thing, smoking his cigarette, like,
Yeah.
it's not
Newports
that
make your
time
teeth whiter.
anymore.
You know?
Right, yeah, exactly. We're well beyond
Yeah.
the lack of understanding
Yeah.
that we have now. That we do have now. So I don't know. That's crazy. Anyways, we're having fun, guys. So we're just kind of goofing off. So if you have been watching, everybody, thank you. Hey, Dennis, by the way, saying hi to my buddy Dennis down in North Carolina.
Hey, shout out to Dennis.
You know Dennis Bayshore. Remember from LTC? You remember Dennis?
Where
word,
is
word.
He's living down in
Jenna-
North
he lives in
Carolina.
Jenna
Nice.
Bob?
No, that's his name that we call him. Denny
Oh,
Bob.
I was like,
Ah,
I've
he's
never
down in
heard of
NC.
that place in North Carolina.
He's in Denny Bob, North Carolina.
I was
that's
like,
that's kind of his
Hey.
nickname we call him. But yeah, so we're just kind of goofing off, just having some fun. But next Friday, I will have the chief on. I talked to our town clerk also, Joanne Schifris. She's going to come on Monday, so we're going to talk about elections since we just got past all of the pulling papers and returning papers and the 50 signatures, all that stuff. That's all closed now. That ended on the 26th, by the way, so you have to wait till next time if you'd like to run for office here in town anyways. And so I'm going to have her on next week. We're going to talk about elections and who is actually up, who brought their papers back and is officially on the ballot and all that fun stuff. So we'll go over all of that. Don't forget, you can watch this program on all the places we share it on through Facebook, the multiple pages that we share this across, tons and tons of pages. And we also obviously always appreciate everybody else sharing as well. Really helpful, helps us get around all the Facebook algorithms and keeps it in your feed and in other people's feeds as well. So that's always really cool. And the comments, very nice and handy as well. But you can also watch us on YouTube if you want to check us out there. It's also a cool way to watch because you can see it full screen on your TV through the YouTube app. If you want to watch it there, or if you have a Apple TV or something like that, you can throw it up on the screen too. It's another way around that. So that's pretty cool. You can watch us full screen. You can also watch us on Comcast 8, Verizon 29 here in the town of Tyngsborough, and you can watch us at tyngsboroughma.gov on our live video on demand and streaming, where you can actually watch the live stream of the channel currently, or you can watch all the past programming, all the meetings, and other programs and stuff that we've done. So there's lots of different ways you can watch. As always, we appreciate all the likes, the comments, the shares. Again, that helps to get around all the algorithms that sort of kind of quash us a little bit, but we get around that because that's just how social media works.
Hey.
It's really cool. It's social media, right? So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you guys have a really good weekend. Should we do the weather real fast? You want to pull that up real quick? We'll show you just the thing. You probably have already seen this, but we'll throw it up anyways, just because we can. It's fun. So of course this is courtesy National Weather Service. I can't see that. It's tiny. Read it off for me, Kaylee. I can't read what that says.
This afternoon is cloudy, isolated showers, and scattered showers. Highs in the mid-50s, southwest winds, blah, blah, blah. I feel like no one really cares about that.
Let's just get to the rain. That's what anybody wants to do.
Yeah, tonight is mostly cloudy. Saturday's mostly cloudy in the morning, then partly sunny. Highs in the lower 60s. Woohoo.
Okay. Nice. What are the chances of rain, though? What are our
chances of
likelihood?
Rain? Well, today it's 50%, but it doesn't say anything for Saturday. Doesn't
the
say
old
anything
coin
for
flip.
Sunday.
Exactly.
Sunday's actually showers, so.
Oh, okay. Bummer.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to look at our high-tech weather center. It's cloudy right now, folks.
It looks it looks like overcast.
It looks overcast. It does. Yes, it's overcast.
Potentially be 45 degrees.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it's about 45. You know, give or take 5 or 10 degrees. I don't know. I'm just kidding. We'll look at national weather.
Oh, it's gonna be really cold Monday through Tuesday. It looks.
Oh, really? Oh, I wish spring would get here. Seriously.
Well, I mean that's lows in the upper 20s.
It's still cold though.
Yeah, no, it is.
Listen. All right. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say this. I'm done with spring. All right. I mean, excuse me. I'm done with winter.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was like, I want
spring.
spring.
I want
Skipping
spring.
it.
I apologize.
Going straight
I'm
to
done
summer.
with winter. I want spring now. I'm so done with this.
Yeah.
This it's lingering.
Everyone
it's driving me
knows how much
crazy.
I hate it. Yeah.
I feel like Eeyore lately. I'm like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
No, right.
I just want spring to get here.
No, I'm sick of it.
For the love of all that is good, just please,
Definitely.
please.
Winter this year got a delayed start.
It
for
did.
Sure.
Well, no, it started early.
Oh.
And then it kind of kicked in because I remember because I was trying to get stuff done at home.
Sure.
And
hanging
winter
on, though.
kicked in quick, and then it was like it had a couple warm spells,
Yeah.
but it
It's
wasn't really
hanging
warm
on,
enough to
though.
do anything.
fair
Everything
enough,
already
yeah.
frozen over, and
Okay.
it's just been rough.
I know, I
Anyways,
just remember like the storms. Like
Well,
that to me was I'm like, okay.
we've had some crazy storms, all the ice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of nuts. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Today's show has been brought to you by caffeinated beverages and all those folks who
Yes,
make
it
them.
has.
Whether it's from home or from a store, it's always good. Keeps us awake, and especially if you have kids. Helps to get you through the day. Anyways, hope you have a really good weekend. Stay dry, have some fun, and I'll see you guys on Monday with the news and with the town clerk. All right, guys, have a good one. See you later. Bye.